Now it's time for Whispers, your number one source for all things paranormal, with your hosts, Jordan Klein and Nick Queen, and produced by the lovely Lola Miller. Whispers is brought to you by West Virginia Penitentiary Tours at the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville. Unforgettable, historical, educational.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Whispers Radio on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Lola, what is going on?
Well, with our new guests in the house, and they don't know us very well, that was quite the introduction. This is entirely different than any other radio you've ever done, let me tell you.
It happens.
When I was saying we have no idea what we're doing, it's true.
I know.
All right, give us a call, 304-214-1600. If you're out of the area, 1-866-514-1600. I'm Jordan Klein. He's Nick Queen. She is the lovely Lola Miller in the studio tonight. Bum, bum, bum. Nikki, you want to introduce?
I can do that.
Since they remember your name.
Because Jordan forgot who we were.
Jordan has no idea who you guys are. We have Craig Karges, the extraordinary. Extraordinary.
Right.
Okay.
Just run it all together.
Yeah, extraordinary. And J. David Diosi, do you have a title?
Less extraordinary.
Less extraordinary. All right.
The mediocrity.
The mediocrity.
We have the extraordinist and the mediocrity. We can do that.
I'll take that.
And I'm Jordan's the lamest. I'm the
Idiocracy?
Yes.
Idiocracy.
We already have that
Right,
established.
Yeah.
and Lola's queen.
Yes.
Somebody's got to keep us on the air, I
Yeah.
guess. Somebody's got to push the button when we mess up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody.
Yes.
The reason we got Craig and Dave here is, do I call you Jay or Dave?
Dave.
Okay.
Good, yeah.
They just wrote a book about their times on tour. Now, guys, you want to tell us about this?
Well, the book's Extraordinary Tales. I do, I'm kind of a cross between a psychic and a magician. So I do live theater shows all around the world. And this is my 30th year of being in business. So Dave and I have been working on this project for about 5 years, but it's just 30 years of weird and unusual stories from all around the world, things that have happened to me, people I've met, stories that they've related to me, that sort of thing.
Now, the book is called Extraordinary Tales: Stories from the Road. What are some of the stories? Can you share any? Or
Dave, you want to go?
Well, to back up a little, Craig and I did meet about 7 or 8 years ago, and I did want to write a book. I had some ideas, but I figured I'd just use him as a springboard and approached him because he did write 2 other books, and his last book was with a co-author. So he came up with the brilliant idea to recap all of the strange stories that he's heard over his career and the strange people that I guess were attracted to him to feel comfortable enough to tell him the strange stories. But some of the strange stories we can't talk about.
Hence why he's on the show.
And it is the radio show about the paranormal. I'll start out by the first chapter, The Mothman. Craig's wife is from Point Pleasant. So
any crazy stories from her?
Well,
like
my wife was the 1976 homecoming queen of Point Pleasant High School.
Really?
Yay.
You got the homecoming queen. Congratulations.
Well,
so you married up, right?
I definitely did. But she, her mom, my mother-in-law, is the most sane, most down-to-earth person I know. And she told Charlotte, my wife, told me this story. They were out having their one aunt, her aunt, my mother-in-law's sister, lived way out in the country on a little gravel road. And they were out there having a barbecue and homemade ice cream and everything. And then they were coming home at night, and it was the 3 kids, my wife and her sister and brother, and her mom in the car. And then all of a sudden, her mom just starts taking off down this gravel road. Gravel's spinning everywhere. She's literally freaking out. And again, she's the most sane, down-to-earth person you would ever know. Then she hits Route 2, and she starts just blasting up Route 2 and just driving as fast as she possibly can. And then when they finally and they kept saying, what's wrong? She just kept saying, shut up, shut up. And then they got home, and she ran everybody in the house, locked the doors, and finally she kept saying, I saw it. And they said, saw what? And she said, I saw the Mothman. And she claimed, and I know she saw something because she would not make it.
Because she wouldn't have freaked out like that.
No, she's just not one to. She wouldn't even make up a story. You know, some of the people in the book I've met, I'm pretty sure made up some of their stories, but I believe her. She saw this pair of red eyes that tracked them through the woods all the way out the gravel road and then partly up Route 2, I guess.
Oh, wow.
And it was, and that's what she saw, and so I know, like, as I say, I know she saw something. Exactly what she saw, I don't know.
Did she report it to anybody? I know
No.
there's people still.
Mm-mm.
See, that's Jordan's favorite. He loves the Mothman. He's been to Point Pleasant. He's taken the tour and the stuff.
It's a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, but it's an interesting town. Like, when you walk around the town, it's not even like...
Sorry.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You got like 3 microphones over there now, so
I got to be careful.
You're amplified.
Well, I'm just going to turn you off.
I'm just
for right now.
When you walk out on the street, it's not like walking out on the street over here. You know what I mean? Like, there's a feeling. The people are looking at you, and you like see the people, and it's like, okay, these guys lived through this story. You see the old men, out on their lawns or whatever. And you're like, man, this is what the story's about. These people lived through that. And it's I don't know. That's what I like about it.
It was a and then it was all right up until the Silver Bridge collapse too, which was then that took the focus away from it all as well. And it's and that's forever on that community's mind. I mean, the Mothman kind of got a reinvigoration down there when the film came out.
Yeah.
And actually, a guy my wife went to school with was responsible for doing a little Mothman store and doing Mothman T-shirts and organizing. I used to have Mothman Day. I don't
Jeff
know.
Walmsley.
Yeah, that's him.
We've had him on the show a few times. Yeah, we know him. Now, some of your tricks are your feats of extraordinaryisms.
Well, you want me to do some stuff?
Can you do
He's
some
not
stuff?
a dog.
We can do
roll over.
Will you
Fetch.
Will you do it for a Scooby snack?
We can do.
Actually, I got to go back out. I forgot an envelope to give me. One second.
See, and you're going to figure out what he did, and he can't
Right,
remember,
he can't
the
even remember
envelope.
the envelope.
I know.
I just did it.
So.
I did it the same thing for a television show last week in Tampa, and they were taping multiple shows the same day, so he would have to change clothes and remember which jacket he had on, and he stuck the envelope in his jacket, and then was on set with a different jacket on. So well, I can't really say the envelope has never left your sight because it has.
Well, you told me to make sure you didn't get it, and so
Right.
I actually put it underneath the phone.
So it's been sitting under the phone. We'll try this. I tried
I would
this.
have lost it.
I tried this once before with Lola. We tried this. The same thing.
Yep.
And we were kind of successful. I'm hoping
Yeah,
to do.
well, yeah,
I'm
kind
hoping
of.
that Nick's mind is not quite as
Well, and his artistic abilities are more than mine.
No.
Oh, God, no.
Not as elaborate.
Well, what I asked Nick to do, I just asked him as I did a series of questions, like responses. I asked for you to say, I said dog, and you said Lucy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I said summer, and you said beach. And I said red, and you said, I can't remember what you said.
Ball.
Red ball, which is very interesting. And then I asked you just to draw something.
Yep.
And you didn't show anybody. No one saw what you drew.
Nope.
So what? Now I want you just to kind of recreate that drawing in your
My
mind.
head?
Right. in your head. Just recreate it. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I knew you drew it pretty fast. So there's not. I don't want you to just close your eyes for a second.
Okay.
And just kind of imagine the drawing. Imagine it exactly as you drew it. Imagine it exactly as you drew it.
I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm not a very artistic person, so I got to remember what I did.
I don't know. Do you remember what you did?
Oh, I did. I do, but
Okay.
I want to get the details right. Just
You want to take a look at your picture real
So
quick?
it's obviously not something you draw all the time.
What's
Now,
Mona
some
Lisa?
people do that. They just draw a favorite. I'm going to hand this over to Jordan, or as I like to call him, Joshua.
No, he will lose that.
And you can keep that, so I can't change it. And then if you want to, we'll see how close it is. Go ahead and open up. Now, what I've done to the listeners, I've just made a drawing that I think is close to what Nick drew, and I handed it to Jordan.
You want
who
me to
had
show you
on the
now,
other
I
side of
guess?
the studio, yeah. Okay, so what did you draw?
I drew a boy. It's something when I was a kid I learned, you write the word boy and then you draw.
Oh, you wrote the word boy and drew a face.
Drew a face with it, yeah.
So it's just a face out of the word
Yeah.
boy. Is there any what are
Hair
those?
and glasses.
Hair and glasses.
And it was a nose, I think. I don't know if it's.
So a small nose,
Yeah.
hair, glasses,
And a little grin.
and a face. It's not like a happy face. But if I drew a happy face, it would be at least within the realm of possibility.
Oh, yeah,
You could have drawn anything. But
Okay,
Jordan,
I have not looked at what this
You're
is
going to
yet.
be amazed.
Oh,
Oh, my gosh. See? I'm telling you.
That's amazing.
There's a face with glasses, little nose, little mouth, little hair.
No eyes.
No eyes.
No eyes. It's kind of like a Dilbert, I guess. Is the closest I can think of it too.
Now, how did you do that?
Well, part of it's trying to. I mean, certain people draw certain things.
Like
And
Nick,
so part
Nick,
of it's the psychology of it.
Nick looks like he probably has the drawing ability of a 3-year-old. So let's take it to Ball.
Right.
Yeah. Well, see, my wife's an artist, so she's tried to teach me. This is the best I can get.
Well, it was very good.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to the
draw flies.
psychology of it,
Right.
that's just how you figured it out.
Partially. I mean, it's partially knowing. It's trying to size people up right away and figuring out what they're going to do and what they're based on the response they give me. And I'm trying to also misdirect them. I kept telling Nick, I said, don't think about it, just give me an answer. Don't think about it, just give me an answer. Okay, draw something. Don't think about it. So there's a certain pattern of behavior that certain people fall into. And
Now,
part of my job, you drew a dog or something, and I drew
well,
a horse.
you
or
drew
something
a
like
bull.
that. I drew a bull, and you drew.
And I drew a dog that was pretty lame looking.
I
for a
came very
dog,
close
but-
to drawing a dog actually.
See?
Then for some reason I
There you
switched.
go.
So I was going to draw Snoopy because I knew how to do that from 26. So
From
the number
26.
26. Yeah. Yeah. It's another thing I learned in school. That's the
What
best
a
I can
school
do.
you went to.
It was weird.
Yes.
Nick knows how to do two things.
That's it.
Draw a boy and draw a Snoopy.
But he does those two things very well.
I practice, yes.
See, I can only do one thing. This is really all I can do is this kind of stuff.
But that's
And
amazing.
if I was out of my, but if I didn't have my job, I'd have no idea what I'd be doing.
Well, see, if I could do cool tricks, I wouldn't be on the radio.
Well, so when's your show at the Capitol? I know you're going to be here.
Yeah, we're doing a big for the people that are listening locally. We're doing a big fundraiser on Wednesday, the 26th of May, and it's at the Capitol, and it's a benefit for Ogilvy Institute.
Mm-hmm.
So 100% of the ticket price, which is $20, goes to the Ogilvy Institute and the Mansions and Museums of Ogilvy Institute, and then there's also a $1 facilities fee, which goes to the Capital Renovation Fund. So it's a really good cause. We have Spillman, Thomas, and Battle. The attorneys picked up all the costs involved in leasing the Capitol and staffing the Capitol for that night. I'm donating the show, so it's 100% fundraiser for Ogilvy Institute.
That's great.
We also have 2 tickets to give away today for that as well.
No Russian callers on the 2 tickets.
No Russians.
Well, they won't make it to Wheeling in time for the 26th.
Oh, there goes my
I
date
think
from the
you-
Ivory Coast. Darn it.
Isn't that in Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Lola has a stalker from the Ivory Coast. And she wants to be stalked by this person.
I know.
It's like, what, Lola?
If that man had cowboy boots on, she'd totally
Oh
jump
my
on
God,
it.
let it go.
Wow. So, okay.
Real quick,
Go ahead.
to give away the tickets, do you have any kind of trick you can do over the phone with people, or?
No.
Sure I do, but I won't.
I'll let you. You're the master of giveaways.
All right, Nikki, how you want to do it?
Because we have books too. We can give
Third
away.
caller. So
Third caller,
Third caller.
304-214-1600.
Very imaginative.
We only
Yeah, I'll
have
try.
40 minutes.
Hopefully we get 3
callers in 40 minutes.
I know.
1-866-514-1600. We got a pair of tickets. May 26th. You said that was a Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday the 26th, a benefit show. And this guy is amazing. That's caller 1. You don't get it. But hi anyway. We love you. Now, do you have other tricks with you?
Sure, we can do some other stuff.
Let's see what
It's
you
kind of
got.
hard for people that have never been in your studio before. It's kind of hard to work with everybody because we've got Lola's. It's like this big triangle of power. Nick's right here,
Yes.
and then Jordan's over there, and Lola's on the other side of the studio. So let me try something.
Triangle of power.
Triangle of power. Yeah, that's probably. There's a story in the book about the Bermuda Triangle.
Really?
I flew out of. Well, it's just a weird travel story. And I
he
met
flew
this
out
guy.
and even got lost.
Oh, I met this guy on the plane who was actually one of the ground crew when the Avenger flights
Yeah.
disappeared. The whole thing disappeared. And it was on the anniversary of that flight.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I forget which year it was, but it was.
And
on
he
the
actually was flying through the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, and he told me I should be worried. I'd been on this really extensive weird tour, and the whole thing leads up to it. Just everything that could go wrong went wrong, and I couldn't meet people when they were supposed to meet, and plane canceled, and all this like the best laid plans. Just everything fell apart. So it was all leading up to this flight, and I was excited to get about maybe 12 hours of sleep in 3 days, and I was on the plane with the guy from Puerto Rico to Miami, and we're leaving San Juan, and he was dressed up and he had a brown suit on. He was actually going to a funeral, I found out later, and he was totally bald, and he had a giant mole on the side of his head.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I had a window seat, and he was next to me, and you couldn't miss the big mole on the side of his head. So I hadn't slept. I always sleep on planes, so I was asleep, and I start to wake up, and I think someone's staring at me, and I just get this impression that someone's staring at me, and I jumped out of my seat and went, whoa. And I looked around, and it was what I thought was a big brown eye was the mole on the side of his head. So then I, in turn, scared him. And he goes, "What's the matter? Are you afraid of flying?" And I said, "No." I said, I couldn't really explain what happened.
Yes, I'm terrified of flying.
I'd just been on a flight from St. Thomas to San Juan with a woman that was terrified of flying. And she was next to me the whole time and just freaking out the entire flight. So, I mean, the whole story leads up to all these weird travel things. But anyway, he said, well, you should be a little nervous because you picked a very bad day to fly through the Bermuda Triangle. So then he proceeded to tell me the whole story and his involvement in being on the ground crew when that, it's not platoon, whatever it's called, that flock of planes disappeared.
Squadron of planes.
Yes,
the flock
of planes.
The herd.
The herd of planes.
The herd of plane
disappeared. So he told me that story, and that's like again one of the examples of the types of stories that are in the book. So it's all in a lot of it's people that I just meet because I do these weird things. I think people tend to share stuff with me that they wouldn't share with a lot of other people. Plus, I'm an out-of-town person. I'm somebody they meet on a plane or someone that they see after a show that I do, and then I'm flying off to another city, and they're staying there, and they don't really want to tell their friends what they saw or they think they saw, but they'll share it with me to kind of bounce it off.
They're like, this guy looks normal. We can
and it
share.
was just, I may look normal, but what I do is odd. So they figure I'm into odd things and maybe can shed some light on some of their experiences. Like the guy that I met in Spokane, Washington, who saw Bigfoot, or claims he saw Bigfoot, and I know Bigfoot's one of your favorites, and he gave a very compelling story. I mean, it was a very interesting story.
See, we had a guest. I want to say like a month or so. Mute his mic because he's going to start hacking.
Oh.
That's his sign language is bad.
I know it's 2 years and I'm still trying to read the.
He is out in Arizona doing like this big Bigfoot hunt, and he's like, you know what? He wants to fly me and Lola out there in the middle of the desert.
Mainly just Lola.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But he's like, you know what? I'm not leaving Arizona until I find Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Like, did you move there? I don't know what the real reason might be, but he's like, I'll pay for your tickets to get out there. I'll fly you out here and I'll show you.
I said, well, how are we going to get home? And he goes, well, that's your problem.
That's your problem. Well, it wasn't long after I ran into that guy in Spokane who told me his Bigfoot story, and he was just camping. He was an outdoors guy. He was camping, and he says he came right on top of him. He came into his campsite, and he was asleep, and he revisited the next night. But it wasn't long after that. I was hiking in Oregon, and I can't remember the name of the national forest there, but I had been doing a show at Oregon Institute of Technology, and then had a day off and went down to this big waterfall, and then I was out in the woods for about 4 or 5 hours. Never saw anybody the entire time I was out there. Never crossed the path of anyone, never saw anybody. And I was on well-marked trails, not that far into the forest, just kind of hiking around. Yeah. And a big bird of prey swooped down right in front of me and spooked me to death. Yeah. I mean, just came out of the tree and then dropped off into this ravine off to my right-hand side. And it kind of spooked me. Then I started thinking about all these things. And I started thinking about Big Ben, who told me the story about Bigfoot. And I had done the Tonight Show not long before that. And Eddie Murphy used to have a comedy routine about Bigfoot. And I talked to him about it at the commercial because I thought it was really funny. So then I just started, then Bigfoot kind of popped into my head. And I'm by myself for 4 or 5 hours now, never seen anyone. And it really started to spook me. And I just turned around and went back. And I thought, this is just well-marked trails. And you don't see anybody. You don't experience anybody. You think if someone or something would really like to hide in the forest, they could probably do it. Yeah, they could do it.
I don't think Jordan believes you. I don't think you can.
It's not that I don't believe. Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of is. Yeah, it's more. I don't know.
Jordan's problem is
I have a harder time buying the Bigfoot thing than I do
So
other
everybody,
things,
you know,
guess.
I think with all of this whole subject matter, and Extraordinary Tales deals with everything pretty much. I mean, it's a lot of it's personal experience.
Mhm.
You know, like my father, he never believed in the possibility of out of body experience. Then he was in the and he's like my mother-in-law. I mean, he's just totally practical, or was totally practical and matter of fact and proof for everything, and very quantitative, and wouldn't question his religion and his faith later in his life, and I mean everything, you know. So he needed proof of everything,
Yeah.
and very well grounded, down to earth. And he was in hospital for a gallstone operation, and he had an out of body experience while he was in hospital. So I was talking to him about it, and I said, "Well, do you think you were just on drugs and you were kind of quasi-conscious, and you heard the nurse in the room, and you just kind of pictured the thing, what it would actually look like if you could see it?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "I was up in the corner of the room
Watching.
and I was watching myself in the bed, and I watched the nurse come in, and they were standing next to the bed, and I said, so if we did like a scientific experiment and put a number on the back of the nurse and center it," he said, "I would have seen it." You know, and then once he had that, and the point is that once he had that experience, he just brushed it off as, well, yeah, I think you can do that now. But had you described that experience to him, he wouldn't have bought into it at all. So I think a lot of what we choose to believe is based on our direct personal experience. That's why in the book, I'm relating other people's personal experiences, their belief systems based on that. You know, what they told me, I can only take it as a story. You know, I don't really know exactly what happened.
Now, have you ever had anything actually happen to you that you would call like an extraordinary tale?
Yeah.
What's your best story then?
Well, one of the, I do this little campus, suburb of Chicago, Lake Forest University, and it was an old estate, and they gave the estate to the college.
Mhm.
And when you stay there, they have a guest house versus the old mansion, so you stay in the mansion. So I walk in, there's a caretaker there, and she's going to be gone for the weekend. I come in on a Friday, and she's leaving at 4, and she said, "Here's your key. Your room's upstairs, and there's other people that are coming throughout the weekend, so there's another set of keys there with a little envelope and a name on it." So I went and did the show on Friday night, and I came back, and I was careful walking in because it's a big house, but so I'm thinking other people might be in there, and it's kind of late. I don't want to make any noise. And I walk in, and I see that the envelope is still there, so the people haven't checked in yet. And I think, well, maybe they're just coming tomorrow. And I had an early flight out of O'Hare the next night, so I go up to go to bed. And then about 3 o'clock in the morning, I was going to get up around 4, and about 3 o'clock in the morning, I hear someone coming up the stairs. And it doesn't spook me because I think, well, those are those people that are coming in.
Yeah.
So then I even think, well, and I hear walking down the hallway and the door closed. And I thought, I'm going to have to be very careful in the morning because I'm going to get up in about an hour, and I don't want to wake them up because they're probably just going to sleep. So I'm going to kind of creep out of the house. So then when I get up an hour later, I'm very careful and I'm quiet, and I creep down the steps, and I get out to the doorway, and I look down, and the keys are still there.
Oh,
People haven't checked in yet. I mean, so and I just boom, I jumped in the car and drove there. And I mean, it was something that at the time didn't spook me at all because I just assumed that that's what was going on. Yet that wasn't what was going on at all.
Wow.
You should have went to the room. I would have checked it.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh,
you
sorry,
would have ran out of there crying like a little girl.
I probably.
Yes.
Oh, wow. The book is Extraordinary Tales, or Stories from the Road. We are going to be giving away a few books for caller. Who won the tickets, Lola?
Paula.
I want to write that down.
Okay.
Paula, your tickets will be here waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Books. Out of town? Do an out of towner? Do we
can
got
do
somebody
an
on
out-of-towner.
the
That's fine.
on our website? Do we have a raffle guy?
Yeah, we got a raffle.
Okay.
We got a bunch of those.
So let's raffle one of those off. We get people that send us stuff, submit their names in for giveaways online.
Then you have a random event generator. It just picks a name.
Yeah, I just got to
Nick
pick a
does-
number.
Oh,
So, computers do everything these days.
that's good.
So I'll pick one of those, and then you want to give away the other two over the phone?
Yeah, next caller gets a book.
A book?
Where you been?
I don't know.
Extraordinary Tales, Stories from the
yeah,
Road.
book. All right, yeah, all right.
She's like, they wrote a book?
God.
There's books.
That's
here?
really a good book, too. They gave me one as a guest when you guys were here the last time, and it's really a good book.
Well, thank you, Lola.
It's really good.
And 304-214-1600, 1-866-514-1600. If you're out of the area, we can mail it, so don't hesitate phoning in. Another trick? Can you see?
Are they tricks? Is that what you want them called?
I
'Cause
don't
that
care.
to me
I don't-
sounds so. I don't consider it a trick.
Well,
I don't know how you do it, but it's not a trick.
Can you show us some more psychic espionage?
Speak.
Miracles. Can you show us
Yes.
another? Can you show us
A
another miracle, please?
It's a miracle.
No, I call them demonstrations or effects, and
Okay.
but I don't really. But you don't have to make a note of that, Jordan. I don't.
You can't. You can't.
But I
spell
don't.
it.
But
I can't spell it.
But I don't. But I don't care what people call it. It's
Uh-huh.
whatever you're comfortable with. Whatever you know. And if it's as long as it's a cool trick, it doesn't really matter.
Now, can you pull flowers out of your sleeve?
No,
too?
no, that I don't do. I don't.
Pull quarters out of his ear,
That's
of Dave's ear.
That's what he was getting ready to do. Thanks for
Oh.
ruining
Thanks.
it.
There we go. Blew the whole
Jeez,
thing.
now what are we gonna do for an hour?
Now this. Now
Look
this
at
is
each
gonna
other.
really. You said, Jordan, you could do good play-by-play, right?
This is amazing. This is.
Lola knows already what's
yeah,
happening.
Okay.
He's gonna tape my mouth
he's,
shut.
he's pulling
Well,
tape off of
yes.
a roll of tape
All
right now.
There's going to be 5 strips of tape. I don't know. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should come over there. Do my earphones reach that far?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
they should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're on a leash, but you're not. It's a long leash.
You should have rolly chairs. Oh, you guys do have rolly chairs.
That's why I bring one in
We
here
don't.
to the angst
I'm
of
gonna
other
come over
people.
this way.
But it's
Now,
easier
if you come over here, you
stand
can-
up
you
and
can use
carry
this.
the chair.
Microphone.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, now,
That works.
Jordan, you're going to blindfold me, okay? You're going to use 3 different groups of things to do that. This is the first group, these 2 coins. Just check them out. Make sure you can't see through
Jordan's checking out 2 coins. One looks a little larger, and he's clinking them together
them.
and
Not
stuff.
larger.
I can't tell. He's got them at a weird angle.
See, guys, what I do.
Oh, they
with
are
once
2
a week.
50-cent pieces.
Okay, and then we have 5 strips of tape. Now, this is actually very strong tape. Now, I know you guys are talking about how much money you're making doing the show, so I know everybody's loaded.
You better be careful.
Jordan
you
has
may
already
not get the 250
The 250-cent pieces
that
I'm holding
would-
right now is probably the most I've had in my pocket all day.
He's taking the 50-cent pieces.
So, Nick, do you have any money with you?
Yeah.
Paper money? Okay, that's all right.
The
I don't want you
paper
to get.
money?
I don't want you to get.
I do not have any paper
Oh,
money.
you just have
I've got
money.
a card.
I have paper
Lola
money.
does.
Lola has money. Okay, Lola, don't get into that in a second. I tell you what. So we've got the coins you looked at. I want you to give me a coin, and I've ripped off 5 strips of tape here along the side of the table. So just give me one of the strips of tape. Coin's going to go about 3/4 of the way up on the sticky side of the tape. Take my glasses off, and this will seal out the vision in my right eye. And then give me another coin. Rip off another strip.
Now, can we staple these to your head? It's like the Amazing Jonathan.
Say what they're doing now.
Okay, yeah, he is taping the coins to the. We're putting the coins on the tape,
Now-
putting them on his eyes, and he's
I'm blind.
blind.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, now
he's
give
got
me an-
tape all over his
Give me
face.
another strip, Jordan. That'll go over my forehead, and then another one that'll go through the center, and then there should be one more left.
Now,
that'll
Dave,
go down
you know
towards
him.
the bottom.
Does he already have? Does he have eyebrows? He's not going to after
I
this.
think he has lost them quite a few times.
Now, I want you, Jordan, just to press everything down. Make sure it's all tight
That's why
and
you don't
secure
use
against my
duct
face.
tape.
want to hurt you.
Seal it down tight.
Jordan is applying
I
pressure to
actually
the
enjoy
coins
this.
into his
Now-
eyeballs.
That black strip of cloth, just give that to me, and I'll hold that up. So now for the listeners, I could get the earphones. I don't know how to go around them. So for listeners, we've got 5 layers of tape over my face, like coins in each eye, and then this black thing wrapped around my head. So I tell you what, Jordan, since you've done all the hard work so far, hand Nick the dry erase board and the marker. And Nick, what I want you to do is just I've drawn a line through the center of the board. Just hold the board so that line runs horizontally, and print across the top half of the board a word. It can be any word at all.
Any word.
Yeah.
Uh,
Don't tell us what it is.
Pick one I can't spell.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
easy.
Don't pick a big one.
all right, I've written a word.
Okay,
on
just-
the top line.
Hand me the board
Okay. And there's the
and
lid.
give me
back on
the marker too. Did you take the marker off?
there. No,
mean,
I put the
cap
lid
off?
back on. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Cap's off now? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, now now I'm holding on the board, but obviously I have all the stuff wrapped around my head, and there's a word on the board, yes?
Yes.
Okay, now is the word, is it upside down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there.
So, now, Nick could have done any word at all,
Mhm.
and he did a 6-letter word. Is that true?
Yeah,
yes,
he had to
that's-
count.
And all the letters are lowercase. Nothing's uppercase.
That is correct.
A lot of times people do like an uppercase at the beginning, but he didn't. He did. So right underneath that word, I've written a word. What word did Nick write?
Nick wrote purple.
And what word did I write?
You wrote purple.
Oh, see, I told you. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It is. These are miraculous.
Now is that tape see through?
Yes, when you layer it all together.
Now the
then you can
black
see
thing
through
might
it.
not be, but the tape probably is. And then of course you got the coins. So
Right, you get everything. I'm
Yeah,
gonna give it to you to play with after we're done. Now Lola,
Okay.
can Dave get your money and give it to and bring it over, because I know you can't leave your position or the entire world will
Fall apart.
fall apart. So Dave went across.
he's handing him.
He's giving me.
He's handing it to Jordan.
Oh, just hand it to me, Jordan. Now, Lola could have had anything, because again, we were talking about how much money you can make in radio.
Yes.
And this is best we could do was $1. Is it just $1? Okay, now again,
Now that's not that far of a stretch because we were
it's
just
not. It's
You know
not.
how much we make in radio.
But there's one thing different and unique about each dollar bill is that it has a serial number on it, and that can be pretty complicated. So because it's a letter and then 8 numbers and then another letter. So Jordan, can you see the serial number on the bill?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just going to try to call things off, and you let me know if I'm right or wrong. Does it start with the letter L,
Yes.
as in Lola?
Yes.
Okay, then we're into numbers, right? First number is an 8,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
9.
Yes.
Is it a 6 after the 9?
Yes.
Okay, there's another 6, but it's not next, is there? It's a 3 and a 5.
Yep.
Then the other 6.
Yep.
How many things are left?
2.
One number, one letter.
Yep.
Okay, let's go 8 for the number and F for the letter.
very nice. Very nice.
Now, you're still here right in front of me, right, Jordan?
Yeah.
I hope. I'm going to
Jordan went to the bathroom.
I'm going to read good at. I've done this, been blindfolded on stage and then taken it off, and the entire audience is gone. There's not. That's the 5 thicknesses of cloth. Now you can still see everything. The tape is still. The coins, you can probably see the outline of them are still embedded in my eyes. And your listeners will hear as this stuff starts to come off.
Now, are they going to hear you scream?
No, I've learned to control it.
This is the most painful thing I've looked
Owie.
at.
Now,
I
Jordan,
know.
you're right here. You can see how tight you just get sealed down.
Your eyebrows are coming with it.
No.
So you could give yourself a facial at the same time if you use Biore.
Oh,
That looks painful.
Okay.
Oh.
it is painful.
Well, that's a tear.
And you could even, like my face will still stick together now. Look, the glue is left on my face.
The eyebrows are not.
The eyebrows are gone. Did I lose them?
Oh no, they're there.
I get
They're down on your face, but they're down there.
when I haven't worked for a while, I start to grow them back a little bit, and I'll get one that's like a crazy eyebrow, and it'll grow like 3 inches out and have a mind of its own. And my wife always wants to pluck it, and I keep saying, "No, it's my only one. Please let me
Let
keep
me
it."
enjoy it. He gives it a perm.
See, I told you guys.
That was amazing.
That was
Yes,
amazing.
It was. It's not a trick. That is not a trick. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's not a trick.
What would you call it?
When you travel to
What do
other
I call it?
countries,
What do I call it, Jordan? Look at your notes.
Yes.
demonstrations.
Right. There you
Oh,
I take notes, Nick. I pay attention.
I know better.
Can you turn me down a little bit
Oh,
lower?
I'm sorry. Yes, there you go.
Now, when you go to other countries, to demonstrate,
Right.
do they worship you as a god?
No. Give very little respect. Once though, I made a couple trips to Saudi Arabia, and again, one of the stories about Saudi Arabia is in the book. And they, and while I was there was a broadcast coming from Egypt, from Cairo, where they had just arrested these people for practicing black magic. And it was, and Saudi Arabia is a lot more strict than Egypt is,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I was working for Aramco Oil, which is the big oil company.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking, it kind of spooked me, because I thought, what are these guys doing? Because I'm sure it wasn't like they were, killing babies, right? I mean, it was just a simple gathering of people, and it wasn't any natural laws that were being broken. But they said they were practicing black magic and arrested them. So then I started worrying about if anyone got wind of the shows that I was doing on the Aramco compounds, if they would come and do the same to me. But they never did. So.
I wonder what the punishment for. I mean, if you're a thief, they cut off your hands and
Right.
stuff. I wonder what the punishment is for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
They'd keep the quarters.
They'd
Yeah.
keep the quarter, sure, and my dry erase board.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, now, how did you know that was purple? How did you know Nick wrote purple?
Well, I can't divulge my
Well,
secrets. What I do,
like a
is a
magician.
combination of illusion, psychology, and intuition. It's those 3 things mixed together.
So Nick's just easy to read.
Nick is not particularly. He's actually.
I'm thinking of something about Jordan right now. What am I thinking?
Yeah.
That doesn't take long.
The next caller could guess that one.
Yeah.
Go ahead. We interrupted. We're sorry.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to tell you.
I'm not going to tell you. That's
Jordan will keep trying. Like, tell me so I can have one trick to tell girls.
Yeah.
That's all he wants.
Come on, I need.
I
need
this. Something.
Did we get a caller for the book club?
Yes, Dave Fry. Dave Fry. Do you have a book on intuition with you?
An intuition book? No, I don't have any. We're talking about extraordinary tales.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to,
You want
to peruse the intuition.
The Ignite Your Intuition, that was my first book.
Yeah, I kept trying to tell him. I was talking to him about that before, and he's like, let's talk about extraordinary tales.
ExtraordinaryTales.com. Can we give that out?
Yeah.
I just guessed.
No,
I just
you
did.
cannot.
No, can you beat that quick?
Well, do you know the... tell him, Dave.
It's extraordinarytales.com. Do you want me to spell it?
It is, spell it for Nick. I mean, spell it for Jordan.
No, I'm an English major. You need to tell him.
That is the site that Dave designed that is exclusive to the book.
And we will now offer to anyone across the universe that you're broadcasting to free shipping.
There you go.
You want to be careful. Have you ever tried to ship?
I thought you were paying for it.
Oh. Free shipping to the listeners of your show.
There we go.
All right.
Extraordinary Tales.
They need to tell you anything like entering whispers or something?
Oh, yeah, we should do code.
Whatever code you want.
Dave.
Code will be...
I think that would be a good code.
Whispers.
Yes, Whispers would be a fantastic code.
Right.
We could...
Or Lola.
Whispers. We'll stick with
Lola, Lola.
Or Whispers, either one.
Throw in either one of them. And,
I heard you on the radio. That'll be good.
We'll figure it out.
Or please just send me the book.
Yeah. Also,
we're getting this wide range here.
On whispersradio.com, we have a link to your website.
I have all three of the books linked up going to Amazon and the Craig Karges website. And I'm adding the Extraordinary Tales.
Yeah, please add the Extraordinary Tales website.
I'm doing that one right now.
That is Dave's baby.
Well, and it's a fun read. It's really fast, and it's a good read.
It's 24 chapters, and if you're interested in a particular area of the world or the country or a particular story like Bigfoot, or you don't like Bigfoot, so you skip that chapter.
Tear that out.
You just go on to a different one.
Yeah.
So each chapter is its own story.
Each chapter is its own story, except for the three houses, which is experiences that actually Dave is more involved with that, closer to that. I've just heard the stories, and it was 3 local houses in the Ohio Valley area.
All right, Dave, so what's up?
Well, I'm not going to tell anymore. Nobody's going to buy the book. Craig's already talked about the Mothman. And
amazing.
I would classify them as ghost stories that people really had a passion for. Craig mentioned early that you don't have to believe everything that was told to him, but I think that people really do believe it, whether you guys do or not. But the stories, as far as seeing, I guess I'll give a little bit away. Yeah. Seeing an image in a mirror, the perfume, aroma, some good ghosts, some bad ghosts. Sometimes the bathwater will run with, nobody's around and things like that. But, you're talking about 150, 200-year-old homes that were owned by one owner, and these were conveyed to us.
And those homes are still up.
They still exist. Yes.
And they're all in a row, right? In a row. They think it over. It skips over a house, doesn't it?
And it's here in the Ohio Valley.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
So maybe you can organize a ghost hunt to one of those one day.
There we go.
Oh,
Should we decide to reveal where they are?
Also,
North Wheeling.
Do you know Kloss Tower? Well, it's not.
It's not that one.
Or Sims Tower. The Sims Tower.
If you have any complaints, it's Jordan at
May 26th. Make sure you're there. It's a show at the Capitol Theater. It's benefiting all the stuff that it's benefiting. You had a whole list.
But really, it's just one thing. It's Ogilvy Institute. Oh, well, it's Ogilvy Institute and the Mansion Museums of Ogilvy Institute, which is all under one umbrella. So 100% of the $20 ticket goes to them. And then there also is a $1 facilities fee on every ticket, but that goes to the Capitol Theater Renovation Fund. So,
which is also very, very important.
Yeah, it's
we got to
keep
that.
great causes that are coming together. And we want to thank Spillman, Thomas, and Battle, who are local attorneys here, and they are underwriting the actual cost of leasing the Capitol and staffing the Capitol for that night. That's why we can say 100% sales goes to Ogilvy Institute. And it's thanks to them, and then the people at the Capitol were very kind to give us very normally they take a percentage of ticket sales and all that up to a certain point, but they waived all that and
Oh,
just
that's
doing a
great.
flat fee for us since
That's
they knew.
awesome.
Yeah, so it's it's good cause and it's
And fun stuff.
It's a lot of fun stuff.
I
You
mean-
can
I
come
mean-
and watch the show, or you can get involved on stage. You can it'll be a good time. And
If
it's
you
a
guys
great,
out there saw what he just did,
I know.
not only will you urinate on yourself,
Oh God.
but
We're a
the phone's ringing
classy
again.
show.
I'm
and
a classy guy.
Can you cut his mic?
The Capitol too. You guys should probably try it. I don't know if anyone's ever looked
We've
into
been
that.
trying to get
Have you?
in, and it's just a problem with timing.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
we
they-
can go, and Frank can't.
Because there's
and
got to be something there.
Oh, if you talk to the people that work there, Barb, one listener, she worked there as a young girl, and behind the scenes, and then was there late at night cleaning up after the shows. She's seen a lot of things.
Right.
A lot of things.
I would think, and to go there, I was so sad that we almost lost that building.
Yeah.
To just go in is a treat, so
No, it's
for a
beautiful.
$20
inside.
ticket, you get to see the show, but you get to spend the night in the Capitol too, which is it's a cool place to be. You just sit there. I remember when I did a little mini show when they had the grand reopening celebration. I was on that 3.5-hour bill,
Yeah.
second to last. So I flew in from Toronto to do it, and I had to leave for Denver the next day. So, but it was, then I went to the first symphony concert,
Uh-huh.
and it was with Tim O'Brien, and it was just just so great to have that
Amazing.
building back open again, and
Yeah.
so we need to support it as well.
Yeah, Lola and I went to the grand reopening.
Yes.
It was good times.
Yes.
You were good.
You stayed that long?
Yeah, believe it
Really?
or not. I
hard
mean,
to
I was.
believe.
He was
I
the guy
rather-
tapping his watch like, come on.
I was like, Craig.
I only did 10 minutes. This is all leading up to me. It took so long.
See, now, will somebody in the audience that's listening be able to maybe perhaps tear the rest of your
Yes, tear the rest
There
of
you
my
go.
3 remaining eyebrows.
that is worth the ticket
will
price
come
itself.
off on May 26th.
Are you by yourself, or is there somebody
It
opening
is just
for you?
me, Lola.
Oh,
It is
my goodness.
One-man show.
What pressure.
Now,
What-
how long's the
10
show gonna
minutes?
be?
It is 90 minutes of action-packed excitement. We're just going 90 minutes straight. We're not doing an intermission.
These eyebrows ain't lasting.
Yeah, I
We've
hope
gotta
that's
be,
the only
and
take
I'm
when you
playing
do.
a lot of new material too.
Really?
Stuff, yeah, about 30 minutes of will be things that I've never done before on stage or reworked.
Any chance that this stuff won't work out?
Yes, there's a very good chance that some of it may not work out, which is
So for the skeptics out there,
right. Come and
buy the ticket.
yeah, it should be fun. It'll be I'm real excited about it. I told someone the other day I'm putting more effort into this show than I do for anything, and I'm not getting paid to do it. So it's going to be a good night. I think.
This is a work of the heart.
You're being paid in karma.
Karma,
yes.
right?
That's right.
A
One
karma
day I
payment.
will see Bigfoot.
Well, please take a picture and send it to me when you do. We got time to give away another book.
Yeah.
If 214-1600,
And-
866-514-1600,
And the other book,
the online book.
the online book, Jason Schwan, West Babylon, New York.
Jason Schwan.
What a city, too, West Babylon, New York.
Makes you envious, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Okay, 304-214-1600, 1-866-514-1600.
I just like the name.
We know you do. For Extraordinary Tales, Stories from the Road, written by Craig Karges and J. David Diosi. Is that the last name, Diosi?
You said yes, exactly. That's hard to pronounce. There's a lot of vowels. I'm proud of you.
confusing,
You're a good
Dave.
speller.
You don't confuse
You
me.
might not be a good speller, but you're a good reader.
I'm not a
he's
very
the
good
best
speaker,
at
but
I
spelling.
can read good.
I read real good.
This has been pretty much mocking Jordan this entire hour almost.
I like it.
That's
I mean,
okay.
we
I'm
love
having
it.
fun.
Yeah.
You said you've been doing this for 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
How old are you? Are you one of them guys that don't age?
107. I'm 52. So I started performing. Actually, started performing when I was 12, really, and then but I've been doing it for a living. I graduated from university 30 years ago, so that's when I actually struck out on the road.
How do you train yourself at 12 years old to do this?
My uncle taught me a lot of what I do.
Really?
When I was 12, I did mainly stage magic. I belonged to like the Society of American Magicians, the International Brotherhood of Magicians, and I read books and figured out stage magic. And then my uncle was a high-class fortune teller and a borderline con man, and he was also an old vaudevillian performer. He was 84, so he was married to my grandmother's sister, who's my great uncle, and he was this wizard. He was actually the subject of my second book, The Wizard's Legacy, and he is the wizard, and I am his legacy. But he took me under his wing when I was about 13, and worked with him for about a year, and then he passed away. And after he passed away, I had inherited all of his books and effects, and that was like this giant jigsaw puzzle of stuff that I had to put together and figure out. And then I spent about another year messing around with that, still doing the magic. And then when I was 16, I premiered the type of show that I do now, and that's all I've done ever since. Basically, I paid my way through university by doing shows, and got out of school and just started traveling around.
So this is like second nature to you now. I mean, you don't even try.
Oh, it's a little, you get very comfortable with certain things. And then you have a show like this one at the Capitol where you're kind of forced to, because I'm in a different, tomorrow I'll be in Newport, Rhode Island, and I was just in, I don't even know where I was last week. I was in Dayton, and then Washington, D.C., and Tampa. And so, I'm usually just everywhere. People don't see me time and time again, but we have a lot of people coming back for the Capitol show that have seen me over the years. And I want to make sure I do some special new material. So then you have to leave your comfort zone, develop new stuff. And it's kind of exciting because you get to try out some new cool ideas. We just had an email the other day. This woman's coming back into town. I think she lives in Memphis now. And she used to be activities director at West Liberty. Uh-huh. And she's getting married on that following weekend, the 28th or whatever it is. And she invited us to the wedding, and my wife and I. And then I mentioned that if they wanted to come to the show at the Capitol, so they're bringing their whole bridal party, and they've all bought tickets because they saw my show at West Liberty. They also saw it in Memphis when I was down there, when they were living down there in Birmingham or someplace for a time. So it's a whole little confluence of events that's going on. It's kind of interesting.
Now, how long does it take you to write a trick, a demonstration? Sorry, I corrected myself.
Wow. I have the idea, and then it's figuring out how to do it.
So you're like, what if I could?
Right. And then I throw it in. Once I figure it out on my own, I'll throw it into a performance, and I'll do it about 3 times.
All right, we got a phone call. Who we got?
New York Lily.
Hey, New York Lily.
Hello.
How you doing?
Wonderful. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Let me guess. You want a book?
Yes. Did I win it?
You got it.
Great.
Make sure to leave your address with Lola.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Did you already get it, Lo?
No, I'm going to put her back on hold, but I just wanted to make sure she got on real quick before we took the top of the hour break.
You want to say anything to Craig and Dave?
I can't wait to read the book. It sounds so interesting.
Well, I hope you like it.
It is very good. We read it about 6 times.
I've read it twice already.
I'm going to take a break.
It's that good, Lily.
Fantastic.
All right, hold on, Lolo. Get all your information. Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
We did this book, and Dave was really, he's the guy. He's the only reason the book exists, because he kept after me to do it, and I kept saying, because it's hard. It's very hard to write a book. Then it's hard to get it published, and then the hardest thing is to sell it. Mm-hmm. So, and I kept telling Dave, it's my mantra. It's hard to write, harder to publish, hardest of all is to sell. And so his tenacity is really why it's finished. And but then once we got it done, we were going over the final proofs before it would go to press, and Dave coordinated all of that. And he said, the proofs here, printer's proofs here. I thought, printer's proof here. We haven't proofed what the artist did. The artist laid it all out.
I got excited.
So then we changed. We did, how many revisions did we go through?
About 6.
After we thought it was done, plus paid an editor to go over it and edit, we went over another 6 revisions. So finally, on the final revision, we agreed to meet somewhere. I forget where it was, and I just took the printer's proof from Dave and dropped it in the FedEx box. I said, "It's going. It's done. It's live with it." Because you always do a book.
There's no mistakes in this book. There's not one.
Lola.
All right.
What?
No. Do we have another book to give away, or was that it?
Yeah, we got another one.
Okay.
Well, that's
all right.
3.
Do you have somebody call in? Who is it?
It's Tony. I've got to get his last name because I didn't know if we had one or not. So.
Oh, is he on the phone now?
Yes, he is. You want to talk to him? You're so impossible tonight. Tony, you're on the air with everybody.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Tony.
Hello.
Where are you calling from?
I'm in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. You just won a book.
Yeah.
Extraordinary Tales. Stories from
That's
the Road.
Awesome. Actually, when I was a young man, I saw Travis at a picnic, and he really enlightened me. I'm sorry, I saw Craig at a picnic.
I was like, and who's Travis?
Well, I knew
Craig
a guy.
was with
I knew
Travis the Great,
Travis
actually.
Tomer. Yeah.
So, and I was at a picnic out of Belmont Hills, and you enlightened me, and then I have followed you here and there and seen you here and there.
Well, that's nice to hear.
That's good.
Hope you enjoyed
everybody,
the book.
everybody deserves a stalker.
It's great.
Thank you very much. We'll have your book here waiting.
Well, thank you.
All right,
Yes, sir.
thanks, Tony.
All right, I can just stop down, Lola.
Yep.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. To finish it up, we got extraordinarytales.com.
Right.
What's the other website, Nix?
CraigCarges.com.
Are you asking him?
I'm doing 100 things over here.
He's
Wow.
Karges.com, extraordinarytales.com.
Yes.
All of his books we got right now on whispersradio.com. But buy Extraordinary Tales from the website
Right.
because it's free shipping.
It's free shipping, and Dave's tracking sales.
Should I remove the Amazon links then? I can do that.
Can you get the other books from that site?
No.
Just that one.
I'll just remove the Amazon link
It's a-
to that book.
It's a special deal.
It
Enter
is a special
Whispers in
deal.
for the
it's
code.
It's a Diosi deal.
There you
Whispers
go.
for the or Lola. Whispers or Lola.
And if you add both of them, he might. Okay. That's all the time we got for this hour. Guys, thank you very much for joining us.
It
This
is
is a
our
lot of
pleasure.
fun. May 26th. Everybody go out there. It's a great cause. Great guy. Great demonstrations. We'll be right back on Whispers Radio.
Now it's time for Whispers, your number one source for all things paranormal, with your hosts, Jordan Klein and Nick Queen, and produced by the lovely Lola Miller. Whispers is brought to you by West Virginia Penitentiary Tours at the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville. Unforgettable, historical, educational.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Whispers Radio on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Let me tell you what, that last hour was amazing.
Did I not tell you?
Blew my mind,
I
Lola.
told you.
Oh, my gosh.
You. I know he says, that he uses some psychology and stuff, and now that I think back with my word, it might have been, because I put book, which, duh. But purple? How would you have gotten purple?
I don't know. I was trying to think.
Unless
I was like,
you look
man.
regal.
Yeah, well.
Or like a Teletubby.
A little bit.
No, but that's crazy. Like, I wonder how much he charged me to teach me some stuff. Like, I can be his legacy.
The Wizard's Apprentice?
Yeah, the apprentice, or what do you say? The legacy's apprentice?
Wizard's Apprentice.
Yes. The Wizard's Legacy.
Oh,
is the
Wizard's
name of
Legacy.
his
I'm
book.
sorry.
Well, he said his uncle was the wizard.
Yes,
He's
and
the
he
legacy.
was the legacy. Yeah.
So I want to be the legacy's
Oh, I
apprentice.
see.
Okay,
Come
I was
on
trying
now.
to figure out what.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Here, we're worried about him rolling his eyes.
I know, right?
Go ahead, roll. No, don't.
You see what I have to put up with, people?
Oh, that's my line.
I just noticed in the music that we play every week is "Save Me from Myself." That's pretty much it.
There's a reason I picked that song.
Yeah, I know.
It was very close to "They're coming to take me away." Hee hee ha ha. Let me find.
It's funny, they said off air, they're like, yeah, we can see why you get all the hate.
Yeah.
No, but there's the demonstrations he was doing.
Very good. Very good.
My mind is blown. My mind has officially been blown, Nick.
You cut part of the phone number off.
It's
This.
3.
The last digit.
Mm-hmm. I just called earlier, so I was like,
Anybody out there that wants to decipher what a possible phone number is, the last digit is 3. Go.
Craig Karges.
He
He's
can
already
probably
got the guy on the phone.
He's probably got it figured out. Give us a call, 304-214-1600, 1-866-514-1600 if you're out of the area. You got any comments, questions, concerns about Nick? Let us know. I'm Jordan, he's Nick, she's Lola. We're having a good time tonight. I'm glad to be in the studio.
Yeah, it's been fun. We give away already 4 books.
4 books, 2 tickets. That was a giving hour.
Yes, it was. We gave and gave until it hurt.
Now, do you want to tell
Lily's
real quick?
going to send you an IM.
I already got
Okay.
it. I was getting it while Jordan was like, and Nick, what was that email or that address? I'm like, whoa. Calm down, Jordan. Calm down. Now, Jordan, there we go. This piece of paper here. The intro, you skipped the first part.
I was so excited.
I know, but we need to go over that real quick.
Okay, July, June. See, my mind is mush right now.
They have freaked up his mind.
It has been blown. June 30th is our Penn Trip tour.
Spot on the table.
To which Craig said that he is thinking about coming on the Penn Trip.
It took half of a napkin to clean up the bar.
I hate you.
I hope he does.
That would be a lot of fun. June 30th, it is a Wednesday, but we got lots of stuff planned.
Yeah.
Demonologist Dwayne Claude's coming out to give a presentation, sponsored by Grandview Park. Herb Street, who has the Herb Street method of investigating, is going to be coming. He's bringing a camera crew. He's doing some kind of TV thing, Nick.
Yes. What is that?
That's Lola.
Oh, I'm like, it sounded like sizzling. I'm like, what's happening?
That's my brain. That's the sound of my brain being blown.
Oh,
but what's the TV crew doing?
They're going to be filming with Herb. They're going to be filming Herb.
Did he say what for? They're documenting his method.
Documenting the method.
Okay.
That's all I got right now. It's a TV crew, so I'm guessing for a TV show.
Okay. And then, yeah.
I don't know. He just told me, is it okay if I bring two people with cameras?
As long as they're quiet
I'm like, yes.
and they don't disturb everybody else.
Oh, yeah, and he knows that. And we talked to him about that before, too. So
Sherry Brake, who is a regular on the show, she's going to be joining us. She'll be stuck to Lola's hip. Or
no,
Lola
will be stuck to
her hip.
And her book just came out, too. So, new title on Ohio State Reformatory, The Haunted History of the Ohio State Reformatory, Sherry Brake. It is out. So, actually, we'll probably just book her here soon. Going to talk about that.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so it's out. And so she'll probably, if she's coming, we don't know for sure yet. We'll have to ask her and pin her down next when we get her on.
Yeah.
But she'll be bringing the book, she said, if she comes.
Okay, and you can buy the book directly. You can have her sign it and all that kind of good stuff. The cost is $65, and you can buy tickets at www.whispersradio.com. Nikki, you want to introduce our guest?
I can do that. Dale Kaczmarek is the president of the Ghost Research Society, author of Windy City Ghost, Windy City Ghost 2, Field Guide to Spirit Photography, Illuminating the Darkness, Mystery Spook Lights, the Field Guide to Ghost Hunting Techniques, and currently working on Field Guide to Haunted Highways and Bridges. Dale, you with us?
Yes, I am.
Great. We're excited to have you. I was telling you before we had John, we've not spoke to somebody about ghosts in it seems like forever.
I know all these alien things.
Aliens and psychics. So we are extremely excited to have you on.
Nice to be here.
So now, Field Guide to Ghost Hunting Techniques. We're actually and you're on hold, so you heard us talking about. We're going to be going to the West Virginia State Penitentiary. So we're always looking for new ways of investigating, new methods. What can you tell us about ghost hunting techniques? How do you hunt?
Well, the reason I put together the Field Guide to Ghost Hunting Techniques is in the 35 years that I've been doing research in the field, I came across a lot of television shows on TV and a lot of different organizations and groups that I've worked with in the past, and a lot of times, just in watching people do their investigations and their techniques, I often saw it just kind of fell short. It just didn't really seem to click. It didn't seem to come up with any good positive evidence.
Uh-huh.
And throughout the years, we've kind of assembled a really good array of equipment and a good way of investigating. And what I try to do in the book is not to say that this is the only way it's done. It seems that this is what seems to work well for us. We get a lot of evidence. We get a lot of EVP, a lot of video, a lot of audio, a lot of still pictures. And so the idea for putting out the book on ghost hunting techniques was really a way to show not only the novice, but those a little bit more seasoned, different ways, different methods, different ideas to take out in the field and try.
Oh, wow.
So now, I'm sorry about that. What exactly is it that how do you go out in the field and investigate? I know you've been on several hunts. You were telling me actually you're going to be coming to the penitentiary, correct?
Yeah, we're going to be out there in Moundsville the weekend of the 21st of May,
Oh,
and then we're going to be going to a few other places, actually Nemacolin Castle out there in Brownsville, Pennsylvania, and a few other places in Pennsylvania on Sunday as well. So we're kind of like the whole weekend we're going to be tied up doing some investigations and so forth. But uh, generally speaking, when we get involved in ghost research, we always want to get the history first of all. That is the number one most important thing.
yeah, yeah.
History and hauntings, they go hand in hand. Without getting the history of the location to find out what's been happening in the past, or at least just general history of the place, you're running blind. You really don't know what's been going on. You don't know what's what might have precipitated the ghost to be there in the first place. So we try to get as much background evidence as far as history and then history of the hauntings before we even get involved with actually going out and doing the investigative work.
So you think it's easier to know what other people have been seeing, so you kind of have more of a direct, I guess, what you're looking for?
Well, yes and no. Generally speaking, if we go into, say, a private home or a private business, that's a smaller place. Our mode of operation, generally speaking, is that we have one person that conducts the interview process, and that's usually myself. The rest of the team is brought in basically ice cold. They have no knowledge of what's going on at the location, so they have no preconceived notion, except that they're going to a location that has a history or an alleged haunting. That way, if they do pick up anything scientifically with their equipment, their own ESP, or their own feelings, sensations, or whatever, it's more scientific rather than tell everybody in advance, well, this is what's going on here. It's happening in the bedroom. It's happening in the basement. It's happening in the attic. And everybody rushes to those locations and doesn't investigate the rest of the house. And that's what I see the real shortcoming on some of these television shows that are on TV. I understand that they have to fit everything in an hour format, and maybe perhaps because of that, you have to go and you have to kind of break that, your mold of what you have to do. Now, in going into a big place like, for instance, Moundsville or Mansfield or Waverly Hills, it would be almost impossible not to tell your team, obviously, what's going on, because you couldn't really go through a building like that in a night and try to get an idea of what's going on and then go back and then try to investigate. You'd have to have prior knowledge, at least general locations in the building where phenomena has been reported in the past, where you can then set up your gear and equipment.
Yeah,
Right.
Lola, you got
some readings.
Because I've really just started watching a lot of these ghosty shows on TV. I was never really in, like, Paranormal State can't stand, and but I've always marveled that they go into these huge places like we did with Moundsville, and you're only there one night. Doesn't it make more sense, especially a big place like the Penn or some of these mental institutions too, actually go in 2 or 3 nights in a row?
Oh, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Is it harder to get permission to do that? Is that one of the reasons why they're not doing that, is because it's harder to get permission to come back 1 or 2 or 3 nights in a row?
That's probably one of the reasons, and the other reason is most of these locations, as you know, charge you to go into these locations to begin with. So they're charging you, upwards of maybe $1,000 per night, and you're dividing it between your crew. So it can rack up a lot of money, and a lot of people just don't have the kind of money to put out. Now, these crews that go in, and even in the book, I kind of just break them down, and I call them television ghost hunters. I don't call anybody by name, but don't want to make any enemies. But just generally, television ghost hunters in general, when they go into these locations, whoever's sponsoring it, whether it's Discovery Channel, Travel Channel, or whatever, they're paying for all the fees and all the upfront costs. So they just have to go in and do the investigation. They don't have to worry about costs or fees or anything like that. They just do their research, look at their evidence, and they come back and they put the show together. So that's nice for them, but people like ourselves that are just into that have a group. You have a lot of upfront costs for travel, for hotels, for meals, and then to get into the place, it can add
Yeah.
up quite quickly.
Because I just kind of marvel that they expect all these things to happen that have been reported sometimes over a course of a year or more to happen all in one night. And I don't know that ghosts are that gullible, If I didn't really want to I don't know, to be bothered maybe by people walking around going, "Oh, tell me your name." I would think you would need to be there more than just one night.
I believe so. And the other thing that really bothers me about some of these shows is they get phenomenon every time they go.
Destination
Every
Truth.
single
I love
time
that
they
show.
go, they get something. And if you know anything about paranormal investigations, if you've been on paranormal investigations, you've been to haunted sites, and I've been to probably several hundred places in the time I've been involved. There's lots of times that we've come back empty-handed. We've got no EVP, we've got no pictures, we've got no audio, we've got no video.
Yep.
It's a total bust.
Yeah.
But these people go out and they get some phenomenon every single time. Disembodied voices, EVP, video. They get thermal hits on their thermal cameras and all kind of stuff. It's just not like that in the real world.
No, I agree, because I watch some of this stuff and just think, oh, I just don't see it happening. Maybe because Ghosty ever comes by me.
Well, when they went to the pen, they didn't. Ghost hunters. When they went to the pen, they didn't get anything.
Oh, who did that hour-long documentary on it?
Ghost Adventures.
Oh,
Ghost
okay.
Adventures.
They really didn't get anything either. Just a bunch of clanging noise and
Screaming at each other.
yeah, a lot of that.
Which is another thing. I mean, what do you think about these people that go out and
Antagonize.
Tell me something. I'm the warden here, which is something they were doing. I mean,
Yeah.
and then scream at them and jump up and down and pull their hair and
Provoking.
Yeah. I mean, it's just. What do you think about that? I mean, it's
well, actually, provoking actually in some aspects is really not that bad of an idea to some extent. And let me tell you why. I mean, what we normally do in locations is we will start off generally going through, and we will go to. Say, for instance, give you an example. We went to Mansfield Reformatory just last June. And we were there, and there were several locations in the prison that had paranormal hotspots. And we went to those locations, and we set up equipment. We set up night vision cameras. We set up different digital trap cameras, EM pumps, digital tape recorders, and all types of other devices throughout the evening. And even our Geist program, which actually we can set up different EMF tri-field natural EM meters and static field detectors and so forth, and kind of monitor them from the central command center. And throughout the evening, as we were doing this, we got very little in at the very beginning until we began to go in and begin to interact with the ghosts. Began doing EVP sessions, kind of talking, asking questions. Then we began to get a little bit of, when we played back the audio, we got a little bit of a response. But as we began to do a little bit more of a provoking nature, and I don't mean like they do on TV. I mean, I don't specifically go through and say, here I am, beat me up and come knock me over. I'm not that crazy. You're not gonna hear me saying stuff like that. But kind of getting into the point where you're being a little bit more outspoken, and you're just not just doing a simple EVP session. You're trying to interact in a more, I won't say an aggressive nature, but in a more provocative nature.
Kind of like saying something like, "Yeah, I don't believe you're here. Come on." Yeah.
And maybe say, like, especially if there was something like in one instance there was a man who was killed very, very brutally there, and we were asking, trying to get the the man who killed him to come out calling him a coward and stuff like that, that kind of nature, we were getting a lot more phenomena. It seems like that type of emotional outpour of energy seems to be what they kind of latch onto to get an EVP, to get a visual.
Now, do you think that's more because of like what the entity, or I guess what the history of the entity is? Like, a little kid, you wouldn't be going out there. We're gonna call you a coward. You're gonna try to make it. Come on,
Exactly.
play with the ball or something. Whereas,
exactly.
Okay.
And we were using different types of trigger objects. Like when we went to Waverly, for instance, we were using trigger objects. We were using balls. We were using dolls. We went out to Gettysburg Battlefield. We were using actual Civil War bullets.
Oh, wow.
And things of that nature as trigger objects.
So what were you doing, like throwing them? Like, gotcha!
No, we were actually putting them close to locations where the battle lines and skirmishes were, so like as ammunition for them.
Okay.
Saying, here's some more ammunition for you if you want to load up your muskets and things of that nature. And so trying to get things that were familiar to them or things that they would relate to. And we seem to get pretty good response by doing that. Now, we don't always do that, but, sometimes if we don't get anything at all, we do try to, provoke, but not like TV shows do as provoking. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's ridiculous to sit there and know that you're perhaps going to confront spirits that are of murderers, like at the pen, and, saying things that are really nasty. And, they're not here necessarily because they want to be in the first place. And I don't know. But I saw something the other day where they were at a mental institution, and they were trying to say too, well, we're here. We've been, kept in our rooms. And I'm thinking they're ghosts. They're not stupid. They know that these people haven't been locked up there. And I just thought it was kind of silly to use that. But one of the things I wanted to try was music. Someone had said that sometimes it works if you start singing a song that was very popular during the era that most of your spirits probably came from. Start singing the song and then stop when the chorus comes up, so that they would be singing and then along with you, and then they would continue after, and see if that would work.
Or at least, give some familiar energy, to their tongue.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Now, since we got 30 minutes left, I want to throw this out there because you're looking for stories for an upcoming book.
Exactly.
Correct?
Exactly.
So can we invite some callers if by chance they might have some stories to share with you?
Sure, that would be great. Okay.
Anybody out there who has a story who wants to be a part of what Dale's working on, 304-214-1600, toll free 1-866-514-1600.
Now, what's the subject of the book? I know you're looking for something kind of specific too.
Well, the book is actually going to be on haunted roads and bridges. It's basically going to be across the U.S. So anything on roads, bridges, highways, underpasses, things that are haunted in that nature, specifically pictures, GPS coordinates, personal experiences that people have had. Anything like that is what I'm looking for pretty much in the book.
Haunted GPS coordinates?
Well, GPS to get you out there, because what I've noticed is that a lot of these bridges are very obscure. I mean, they have very colorful names like Crybaby Bridge, Devil's Hollow, Dolphin's Bridge, Dead Man's Curve, Help Road. And that's not the real name. I mean, unless you're a local to the area, you'll have no idea what these people are talking about.
Okay. I get that.
So either a GPS coordinate or directions from a major intersection or nearby town would be great.
Now, we have a question from the boards from Tall Dwarf. He says, how close have you come to capturing a full-body apparition?
We already have 3 times.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Now, and I have your website here. I've been going through ghostresearch.org. Now, can they see that picture of that perhaps on the site?
We are going to be hopefully getting that up here rather soon. We are working on what we normally do is we put a lot of this stuff together on DVDs. Right now, we're trying to find a way of getting it on the internet. Streaming is a little expensive, we're trying to find another way of getting it on the internet. We did capture a very interesting apparition at just last year at a place called Haven Crest Castle, which is up in Savannah, Illinois, near Galena area where Grant's home is.
Uh-huh.
And we were up there doing an investigation, and in a nutshell, basically, this man, Alan St. George, had bought this castle, which was purchased, built by the Greenleafs back at the turn of the century, the turn of the 1900s, and his wife had died in the castle, and he continued to live there, and he felt her presence all the time, and had psychics come in and told him that indeed her spirit was around, especially in this one particular dining room called the Flemish dining room. This castle is an amazing piece of architecture. And we got a lot of EMF hits on this one area. We got some strange feelings. We set up a static night vision camera there facing the end of the table, and we went on our way. We continued on throughout the rest of the castle, not knowing anything was going to be captured until we later played back that video. And to our amazement, we actually caught a woman in a Victorian gown pass right past the window. Completely full-bodied apparition. When we first initially saw it, we thought it might have been somebody dressed in a nurse's outfit. There was a connection with a nanny that had lived there and watched over the children. I showed the piece of footage to the owner, Alan St. George. He literally almost broke down, and he said, "That's my wife."
Oh,
He
wow.
went to the back room. He dug out some old photographs, and he showed a picture of her dressed in a similar outfit, and it matched almost identical.
Wow.
And we can't explain how or why, where that image was captured and how fast it went past, and without any sound. It was actually outside, self-illuminated. It was completely dark outside. There was nobody out there, and there was only 3 females in our group, and they were all dressed in blue jeans.
Yeah. Wow.
Now I'm looking actually some of the ghost photographs from your website, the GRS collection. The old lady in the window is astounding.
Yes.
That's the newest one you have on there.
Yes, it is.
Now, are these pictures that you guys have taken, or people have submitted to you?
That one in particular was one that was sent to us. Some have been sent to us. Some we actually took ourselves. In that case, this individuals were up there. The story was that the house that they were working on, the woman had died in the house, and it had been transferred to the family. They had taken over. They were working to remodel the house, and they were putting on a new roof. And there was nobody in the house at the time. One of the workers had took a picture with a cell phone camera with the other workers on the roof. When he looked at the image later, and in the window appears to be the woman watching them work on the roof.
I'm going to show Jordan the video.
What's the website?
Picture.
What's the name of the website, Dale?
The website is www.ghostresearch.org.
And if you go down,
It looks like an old woman in a nightgown just kind of peering out.
Exactly.
If you go down, Lola, and for other people that are looking right now, on the left-hand side it says Ghost Photographs. Click on that, and you'll see it. It's the last one. It's number 28.
But I mean, with this picture being sent in to you, you can't really verify that it wasn't an old lady just hanging out in the window.
No, except we know that, in fact, the person, father, this was taken by a younger man.
Uh-huh.
The father of this younger man is actually a ghost researcher.
Oh.
That I know, and so he actually went to verify the time this photograph was taken to make sure it was in fact taken after the time the woman had in fact died, and they did verify that, and they had in fact knocked on the door prior to getting on the roof to make sure nobody was in the home. Or to say that they were going to be working on the roof and nobody was in the house, nobody answered the door.
Oh wow!
And I'm looking at it a little bigger. I mean, it's really good detail. I mean, it's
It is. It's
it looks like a person.
photograph.
It doesn't look. It's not like misty and flowing, and it's not. It looks like a person standing in the window. Can you see it, Lo?
Yeah.
It's an interesting picture. Now, how often do you get? What process? Really, a different question. What process do you go through to verify a picture yourself? I mean, you take a picture. Let's say the picture you took of a woman with your camera. Do you go through and make sure everything's correct? Do you enhance it in any way?
Yeah, I have several different computer programs that I actually work with that actually can enhance the image, can enhance the contrast, can actually unblur an image if it's been blurred. If I know the direction of the blur, I can actually move it in the other direction, slightly unblur the image. I can work with sepia tones. I can actually enhance and actually work with the pixels a little bit to see to actually get the computer to figure out what might have been there by kind of playing with the pixels. So it's kind of sophisticated. And what I normally do, I get a lot of photographs from people all across the country, all across the world. I get an average of about 4 pictures a day that people send me. And I started this back in 1985 when I began telling people to just send me pictures for a free analysis, never knowing I was going to get just deeply involved with it. But most of them, I will say right off the bat, are easily explainable. That I can look at very quickly, and they're either digital orbs or they're dust particles, they're camera straps, they're reflections, there's cigarette smoke, there's somebody breathing out on a cold day, reflection off of windows or mirrors. They're easily explainable, but there are that 5 or 6% that I get that are not so easily explained.
And I've used your site before, talking to people that they'll send me a link. It's like, oh, look at these orbs, and they'll even know the term orbs, and I'm like, well, that's dust, and then I'll usually just use your, I'll send you the picture you have, because on the same ghost photograph site, you have fake or explainable ghost photos, and you go through long exposure, you kind of explain a little bit, reflections in the distance, dust on the negative, which is, a huge service to people out there that are, and of course, they'll still, well, that's not what the case was, it was dusty, but I know it's spirits. Well, you can't help that.
Well, this one, dust on the negative.
Uh-huh.
I see the dust, but there looks like something in the door jamb as a reflection back in the mirror that looks entirely different. I mean, it's orange. Because that's my big thing at the pen. The only thing I got were pictures of, I hope, orbs, but and that's kind of what some of mine look like. But I see the white stuff obviously is something on the negative.
Well, orbs, I'm still getting a lot of people that send me pictures of orbs, and I'm not a big fan of orbs. I never have been. I will say that I'm not going to stand on the podium and say that every single orb is explainable. There may be a very, 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 very small percentage that may be ghosts. But the vast majority are easily could be explained by dust particles, by insects flying through if you've got a night shot camera, or you're out in the middle of the woods at night and you're using a flash, or water droplets, or humidity in the air. Any of these things that can be photographed. If you don't believe me, try this for yourself. Go out in a rainy condition or a humid condition, or out in the woods during the summer, and snap picture with flash, and you will get orbs in your pictures.
Yeah. I verify that. I'm with you.
Yeah. Although I still stand by one of mine. I mean, honestly,
she's a stubborn woman, Dale.
There's one that I just it defies any explain. I don't know. I've had photographers look at it, and there just doesn't seem to be any logical reason for this particular. I mean, I've had other ones that's got tons of those little see-through blobbies, and but.
Well, here's a question for you, Dale. She had one picture. Her and her little group she was walking around with started smelling a burning wire. They smelled like what smelled like a burning wire. And then somebody in that group brought the picture in after he went through, and it looks like from somebody's like fingertip down to the ground is like a bright orange line.
Yeah.
Like it would have been a white,
Wow.
If we had been smoking in there, you could almost say it was like a time photo of a cigarette being tossed down.
Okay.
But no, we weren't, and it was completely pitch black. We were down in the sugar shack.
Okay.
And yeah, right about that time is when a couple people smelled something that smelled like burning wires, and then boom, in this picture, once they were developed, here's this line shooting out of her finger. It was bizarre.
And that's usually a very good indicator when you have a series of events. You have a personal experience. You have either you feel something, you smell something, you see something, and then you have the evidence to back it up. It's usually a good indicator that something did in fact happen.
Oh wow, there you go, Lola.
Oh, I didn't take the picture though.
Now let's say if Lola wants to send that picture into you, because you said you get 4 pictures a day, and of course what would she need to do, or what would anybody need to do to get that to you?
Well, they just need to go to my website, ghostresearch.org. In the center of there's a 3-column website on the main page. In the center of the column, it says if you're submitting photographs for analysis, click here or something like that. And that'll take you basically to the spirit photography page. You just scroll down to the bottom of the page, and there's a 4 or 5 paragraphs that basically tells you what you need to do to send in the photograph. That we need them in JPEG or GIF format, and we need to know all the circumstances behind it, like what type of camera, film was used, weather conditions, circumstances, why you were taking the picture in the first place, and any other circumstances behind the image. Anything, any information, the more the better. Will give me a better chance to analyze and come up with an explanation.
Okay.
And again, I always tell people just to remember this. It is just, you're asking for my opinion. So if it's not what you want to hear, you did ask for my opinion. I'm not always correct, but this is my opinion.
Yeah.
Take it as that.
And don't get mad at you and come
Exactly.
after you.
Now, have you ever had anybody get extremely upset? I mean,
Oh yes. I've had a lot of people I've burst their bubble. And they've got extremely upset, or they've said, I've showed it to 10,000 other people, and they see this, and I can't understand why you don't see this, or why you don't agree with me.
That orb is my grandma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's simply my opinion. I've seen so many thousands, and I mean, I'm literally probably tens of thousands of photographs now since that time, that I can sometimes just eyeball sometimes most of these images that are sent to me, but some do require a bit more scrutiny through software to get a more detailed analysis of what might be on the image.
Okay, when I talk to him, I'll have him send it to you, because it really is, when you put it with all the other circumstances surrounding that taking of that photo.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Okay.
Now, you have several books on stories. You want to share some neat stories with us? Like, what's your favorite?
Well, my favorite, probably the place that I probably did more research than any other place was in my first book, Windy City Ghosts, is a location known as Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. And Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, for those, especially here in the Midwest and in Chicago, it's very well known as being probably one of the most haunted cemeteries any place around. It's simply just an old abandoned cemetery from the 1840s, from a group of German immigrants from Bremen, Germany, that founded an area known as Bachelor's Grove Settlement, and they put aside about an acre of land for a cemetery around the time of the Civil War, about 1864. And ever since about the 1950s and early 60s, there have been reports of all different types of activity out there, from disappearing houses that people have seen out there, to disappearing pickup trucks and automobiles along the Midlothian Turnpike, to full-bodied apparitions that have actually been seen by Cook County Forest Rangers on at least one occasion.
Oh,
they were on routine patrol going past the Midlothian Turnpike in their patrol car, and they saw what appeared to be a farmer and his horse emerge from the lagoon, pulling a plow like they were plowing land coming out of the lagoon, plowing right across the Midlothian Turnpike and disappear across the road in Rubio Woods. Now, they never officially reported the story, only because of fear of being laughed at and ridiculed. But I was able to get this from other forest rangers and forest preserve people. They would not give me their names because they still were very tight-lipped about that. But other reports of women dressed in white carrying babies in their arms, and in fact, one of the most famous photographs that it's probably been circulating on the internet ever since the early 1990s of the woman sitting on the tombstone at Bachelor's Grove, which is also on in the link section. Was taken out there during an investigation with our Ghost Research Society members during an actual investigation using black and white high-speed infrared film. There was nobody on the tombstone at the time. It was an area that a number of people using sensitive EMF devices had picked up anomalies and different deviations, and some people just did not feel comfortable walking past there. They marked down on their maps that I gave them, and later turned them into me. We compared the maps to see where the hot spots were that afternoon, and several locations showed up, including this checkerboard tombstone that had no name on it. So we went back there, shot some pictures, did some other experiments, some EVP, and one of our members, Jude Huff, had a 35 millimeter camera, I should say, with infrared film, black and white, and she took a series of photographs, and of course we didn't know until we got the film back about a week later that anything was captured. This was long before digitals came out, but it was a clear image of a woman in a long Victorian gown. Parts of her head and her knees are actually semi-transparent. You can see right through her. Now that was shown on it was in the Chicago Sun-Times and the Chicago Tribune. It was actually part of a documentary I was on the Discovery Channel called Phantom Photographs. It was actually shown to Len Zapruder from Kodak in Rochester, New York. And even though he was a bit skeptical about it, he couldn't actually, say for sure what it was. He thought it was perhaps a real person sitting there, but he wasn't absolutely sure.
Wow.
So it's one of the locations that I've spent. It's really what kind of got me involved in ghost research. The first site that I actually investigated was Bachelor's Grove Cemetery here in the southwest side of Chicago.
Now, how long did you spend in these cemeteries before you wrote before you decided to start a book?
Well, the first book came out in 2000, so it was probably a good 25 years. Almost from 1975 through 2000, before the first book actually came out. I was putting together reports and keeping all these in files and in my file cabinets, all this evidence that I was compiling throughout the years, and putting out a newsletter at the time from our membership called the Ghost Trackers Newsletter, which ran from 1982 to the year 2001, and that stopped at just about the time I began writing books, about 1999-2000.
Now, what was it that made you want to write about what you've been doing in cemeteries?
Well, I thought it would be good to get that information out to the public, not only just to show them what we had done, but to also give them pointers how to better their chances of getting phenomenon themselves. And that's
kind of like a how-to.
These field guides, like the field guide to spirit photography and the field guide to ghost hunting techniques, to how to take pictures yourself and how to investigate sites.
That's good.
Why do you consider digital cameras to be? Personally, I'd rather use 35 millimeter film, but you can hardly buy a camera like that anymore. But why do you think digital cameras are so bad?
Well, I don't say they're bad, and you won't hear that from me. I mean, they do have their purposes. I mean, digital cameras will give you that instant picture, and that's useful and very useful in paranormal investigations, where in a 35, you have to wait until you develop the film, so you don't know if you get anything until a week later or a few days later. Here in the digital technology now, you have that instant picture, almost like the old Polaroid film
Yeah.
that used to come out and develop in your hand. I still have a Polaroid camera, but try finding Polaroid film
I know.
nowadays.
Yeah.
It's almost
I know.
impossible.
I know it.
So Polaroid, the old Polaroid cameras are kind of obsolete. The digitals kind of took over from the Polaroid more or less. So now you're getting that instant image of something that's there.
Well, that and you know, if you're using 35 millimeter film, I mean, you're going through rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls. You know, that's going to get expensive. You know, a digital camera, you can get 100 some pictures and look through them really quick because, you know, if your investigations are anything like ours, I mean, you have 50 pictures of a corner of a house, you know, and
Exactly.
that's just wasted money if you're developing film.
And then you can look at your digitals. You can download them in your computer, and then if you want to print them up, you can print up whatever you want, ones that have evidence on them.
Of course, everybody that's been with you on the hunt, like, I want all those pictures so I can look through them too, and that's harder to do when you're trying to get copies for everybody for the 35 millimeter.
Yeah, you just burn them on a CD now, and CDs are so cheap now. You get them for a few pennies now, almost.
Yeah.
Almost at this point, you don't even have to do that. You can just go and upload them to a private account on Flickr or something, and they're all there.
Exactly. Yeah, digitals definitely have their use. I mean, I still use 35 millimeter cameras as well because 35 millimeter cameras, if you are going to analyze an image that you do get that's anomalous, a digital, you have a file and nothing else. It's a digital image. You have nothing to examine. You have no negative. You have nothing to go back on. Where here on the 35, you do have a negative that you can examine. You can reproduce. You can show everybody. Here is the negative. Digital, you don't have that. So we use both in our work, both digitals and 35s. We use camcorders. We actually do use some of the older Polaroids when I can find film for it. So we use a variety of different types of film and different types of cameras.
See, when I'm looking at pictures on a computer screen, there's a difference too in what your screen is made of. The older monitors give you one kind of picture. Newer ones give you a different, I don't know. I just prefer something that's on paper that I can really look at and, I don't know. I'm not a big computer person. You can gather that. I just would rather have the solid proof in my hand.
Sure.
Because I noticed too because all I got were little globes all over my pictures. But depending on, how my laptop was situated, it gave different colors in the inside, and when I blew it up even bigger, and I didn't know if I was seeing just the color from whatever makes the screen, or if it was actually the color that was caught in the picture.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but I could change the colors just by enlarging it and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I'd rather have something I can print off and really look at.
Well, the thing with the modern technology and the way we're heading into, this century now, and the advances that I've seen since I started back in the early 1970s, and with the lack of absolutely no paranormal equipment to what we have today with FLIR cameras and portable FLIR cameras and video obelisks and things of that nature, I think eventually we may see the demise of the 35 millimeter camera altogether. It may go completely digital. I mean, we're already have our own full spectrum camera that we do use, which is also a digital camera as well. Kodak already has stopped production of both color and black and white infrared film. You can't find that in Kodak anymore. So now you have certain certain digital cameras now being converted to infrared by taking out filters and manipulating the camera to shoot into the near infrared spectrum. And that's why I think eventually what you might see is no film at all. You might just see this being a totally digital environment.
Digital taking over. Now, Dale, if any of our listeners want to get in touch with you to tell their story, whether or not they were afraid to tell it on the air, or If they haven't got to listen to the show yet, they got to listen later. How can they get up with you?
Well, they can contact me directly through my website at www.ghostresearch.org. There is a mailbox in the very bottom they can click on, or there's a button on the side that says Contact Us, which is my direct email. I also am on Facebook. I have my Ghost Research Society page on Facebook as well. And there's information there to contact me. I can also be reached through the Ghost Research Society Press, which is also on my Ghost Research Society page, which is part of our books publishing company as well. So they can contact me through there if they have pictures, descriptions, accounts, or stories you want to tell.
Awesome. Now, we have all your books and your website linked up to whispersradio.com.
Yep.
They'll be able to click on the picture of the book and purchase it right there. So that'll help you out some.
Appreciate it.
I want to thank you very much. We are out of time. Thank you for being with us and sharing your stories. And hopefully we can be a bigger help. Lola?
Well, I just want to say you're coming this way in the near future, right? You're going to be at the Pen in Moundsville?
Yes, I will be.
All right. Well, give us a call. Maybe the Tuesday after you've been here, you could give us a quick call and say what you perhaps experienced at the Pen, because we're going on June 30th. So be a great way to kind of compare stories.
I sure will.
That's
Great.
awesome. Thank you very much.
Been a pleasure.
Dale, thank you very much, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you much.
Hey, have a good one.
You too.
All righty.
I still the obelisk is that robot voice thing, wasn't it?
Yep. We don't.
I recognize that.
Lola hates
the
obelisk.
I would love to get a flare. I'm
Yeah,
not kidding.
Me and you both, sister.
How about the obelisk? If you why they didn't do this? Why they had to broadcast it all over the place? Why not put some freaking headphones on?
I know it. And honestly, you can hear better if you've got
that's
headphones
what I'm trying to say.
on,
Yeah, exactly.
You know? I don't. Well, because they were rude.
It randomly says words that are pre-programmed into it. I don't get it.
I don't.
Perhaps
either.
it's because they wanted to broadcast. We're professional.
Oh yeah, we're hot. We've got this.
Add a $20 EMF. I'm happy.
I've got my little $4 recorder. That's about the extent
I
of
had
mine.
to crank it, but she was happy.
We have $24 worth of equipment in a radio show.
Yeah.
What?
All right, guys.
All right, everybody. That's all the time we have for this week. It's been fun.
Yes, it has.
Definitely.
Told you it'd be amazing.
May 26th. You will not believe what we saw today. You're probably like, oh, they're making stuff up. Oh, my gosh. That stuff was like glued to his face. It was amazing.
I know it.
Go to the show. It's free. Or
no, it's not.
He's doing the free show to benefit, stuff around Wheeling. It's only $20, a 90-minute show. 30% of it, or 30 minutes of it,
all of it
has
goes.
never been.
It's all new.
It's all new. He said he's never done it before, like on stage. Oh, it's going to be great.
Yes, it is.
Until next week, everybody, don't be afraid, only believe.